Welcome to Lesson 9. In this lesson, we're going to take a more detailed look at the baselining functions in TRIMS. When we left Lesson 8, we had just created a brand new element file called swdemo. Let's continue working with that same file. Opening the baselining menu, we can see 7 options available to us, and I'm going to discuss each one in turn. The first option is Set Milestone Dates. This function sets the begin activity dates for all of the templates in the element. It does this by knowing when each template is supposed to start within a specific phase. For instance, template 2.1 is supposed to start 10% of the way through the design phase, which occurs between milestones 1 and 2. If those two milestones are 3 years apart, then template 2.1 will begin a little more than 3 months after milestone 1. If my program schedule slips, I can come back to this module and enter new milestone dates, and any templates that are affected by those milestones will be adjusted automatically. When I click on any of the milestone date fields, the description of that milestone is displayed right here. When you enter milestone dates, they may not match up with your program's actual milestones. You will have to read the descriptions and decide what an appropriate date is for the beginning of a particular phase. Remember, these dates are only used to adjust template begin activity dates on a global basis. If you're not sure what date to put into the program, try to guess earlier rather than later. You might have to start answering the questions a little earlier than is actually necessary, but it's better than not getting to them in time. The next option is the Element Properties module. This section allows you to modify the title of the element and set a security key for your file. Remember, the element title is used by TRIMS only for display purposes and is not related to the file name. Changing the title will not result in a new file. The title is displayed on the main screen and on reports. It is also used when you have multiple files open and you are about to perform an action on one of those elements. In this case, the title helps to identify exactly which element is about to be modified. The security key is used to provide an additional level of security for a project file by preventing the file from being opened by unauthorized individuals. You must enter the security key twice to ensure against typing errors. Also, security keys are case sensitive. When a user wants to open the file, they will be prompted to enter this same security code. Note that once a file has been saved with a security key, it can only be opened with the same key. If the security key is lost or forgotten, the data will be irretrievable. An element that has a security key will be displayed in the main window with a small padlock symbol. If you want to save your element without a security key, go back into Baselining and Element Properties, delete the security key from both fields, and then click OK. TRIMS also allows you to define your own data fields. There are 6 true or false fields called user-defined flags and up to 8 multiple choice fields called user-defined selections. Defining user-defined flags is as easy as entering the name of the field in the space provided and making sure that the active box is checked. Let's define 2 of these fields as priority and watch list, and we'll uncheck the rest of them. User-defined selections take a little more time to set up. To modify an option, start by clicking on the button. Enter the name of the option. We'll call this field Status, and then make sure that the active box is checked. Now we can enter the options for this data field. The easiest way to do this is to click in the New Option field and start entering options, pressing Enter after each one. As I do this, you can see each option being added to the list. I can change the order of the options by clicking on a single option and clicking the Move Up or Move Down buttons. I can use the Edit button to change the text of an option, and I can delete options as well. When I'm satisfied with what I have, I click the OK button and I'm done. The 3 data fields that I've defined now will look like this when I edit a risk. Oops! Because I started with User Select B, my data field appears to the right of my editing window. This is how TRIMS works. Left-hand entries will appear in a column on the left, and right-hand entries will appear in a column on the right. If I have a small number of data fields, This gives me the option of displaying them side by side or all in a single column. If I don't like the location of a particular selection field, I can move it by swapping it with another field. To swap two fields, click on the label for the first selection, then drag it over and drop it on the button for the second selection. The two selections will then exchange locations. Now my editing window looks like this, which is much better. The weight files section was covered in the previous lesson, and there really isn't anything that I can add here, so we'll skip this and move on. The Add Personnel option can be used initially to enter the names and occupational data, such as phone number, address, and email, of all personnel who will be working on the program. Populating this list at the beginning of a program makes it much easier to make personnel assignments. To add personnel to the current database, click on New. Fill in the applicable information and then click OK when you're done. You can also delete personnel from the database by selecting the name to be deleted and clicking the Delete button. If the person that you are deleting has been assigned to any templates, questions, or risks, you will be prompted to transfer those assignments to another person. If you select Yes, you will be prompted to select a replacement person. If you select No, then all of the assignments for the person being deleted will be reset to blanks. The next baselining function is Modify Knowledge Base. This is one of the most powerful features available in TRIMS. You can use this function to add questions to templates, add whole new templates, and even create new categories. When you select this option, TRIMS displays a collapsed tree of the current model. You can expand or collapse individual sections by clicking on the little square with the plus or minus in it. To modify or delete an item, select it, and then click on Modify or Delete on the right side panel. You can also right-click on any item and select an option from the pop-up menu. One word of caution though, we don't recommend using the delete function to remove things from a knowledge model unless you're absolutely sure of what you're doing. Once it's gone, it has no more visibility in the program, and if it turns out to be a legitimate risk, you'll never know. Instead of deleting templates, it's often better to just mark them not applicable instead, and then just hide them using the filtering features. When you edit categories, templates, and questions, you'll see different options. However, they all have these three buttons in common, which are used for adding new items to the knowledge base. This allows you to begin working on a new template, then you can click here to begin adding questions without having to go back to the previous menu level each time. I'm not going to cover the individual edit windows here, since that's beyond the scope of this CBT. You can get more detailed information on the individual fields in the online help, or you can call the BMP Help Desk for specific guidance. So, moving on, the Edit Risk Matrices option allows you to adjust low, medium, and high risk ranges for each risk type. Risks are adjusted by column. For each impact, you define what levels of likelihood are necessary to achieve each level of risk. You can only set one risk level at a time. Which level is being set is determined by these boxes at the bottom of the screen. When you cursor over the squares in the risk matrices, the cursor changes to a hand pointer containing the same symbol as the selected risk. Now, when you click on any square, the range for that particular risk level will expand to include the square that you just clicked. You can also switch the active risk level for the cursor by right-clicking on any existing square of the desired color. This allows me to right-click on a green square and start expanding the green ranges. Then I can right-click on a yellow square to adjust the yellow ranges, and so on, until all of the ranges are set the way I want them. The last option is the TRIMS Models Manager. If you have customized an element file and want to use it as a model for future elements, this is the option that lets you do that. Just enter the name for the model, click the Create button, and that's it. The new model will be available the next time you go to create a new element. You can also use this function to delete custom TRIMS models that you don't need anymore. Just select it from the list and then click the Delete button. This concludes the computer-based training series for TRIMS. If you need more help, contact us at the Best Manufacturing Practices Center of Excellence at 301-405-9990 or visit our website at www.navso-p-6071 www.bmpcoe.org.